The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to the Coach Curl podcast. It's episode 115, and today I'm sharing the answer to one of the most common questions that we get asked. Tony, what makes a great leader?
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. All right, Charlie. Finish on. Coach Carl. Great job, guys. Coach Carl, we love you.
How are we all? It's Tony here, and welcome to episode 115 of the Coach Curl podcast. And today I'm starting a series. It's a series dissecting one of those most common questions that we get asked. So we get asked a number of questions from people that follow the podcast, that follow some of the pages and social media aspects that we have, either with Coach Curl or with the business arm, Think and Grow Business. And, you know, often we'll get asked, Tony, how do I find my purpose? That's another one of our most common questions. Another one is about how to successfully goal set, and more particularly how to achieve my goals. You know, we get a randomness in relation to a lot of the other questions that we get. But one of the most common ones is the concept of, Tony, what makes a great leader? We have a number of people that have contacted us who have explored their specific skill set. They've developed their skills. They've become subject matter experts. They've become specialists in their field. And then all of a sudden they've been asked to lead a team. So people like that will often really struggle with this concept of leadership and struggle with the concept of management and having to manage a team. People will struggle with that. But also we get asked this question when people come into like a new team or working for a new boss. People like to, I suppose, validate and verify what their own thoughts are in relation to their new boss, their current boss, who, whatever the case may be. And they'll often ask, Tony, what makes a great leader? Because I don't know if I've got one. And other times people can have their own self-reflection. And of course, we've all got aspects of the imposter syndrome, and we all sometimes have these self-doubts that override and really inflict on our abilities to get stuff and shit done. We all have that. But some people suffer from that more than others. So often we'll get the question asked from people that are suffering and going through a little bit of that self-doubt that we all get. Just in case you're interested, over at the Dumb Leaders podcast, and if you haven't listened to that, please check it out. It's a great little podcast. The Dumb Leaders Handbook is at dumbleaders.com, and we've been dissecting cognitive bias over there and how it affects dumb leaders. So if you're really into developing your leadership and your skill set there, check out Dumb Leaders, because it really is a library of lessons from lousy leaders, and everything at the website is absolutely free. You get some fantastic articles and some stories that me and the team share over at the Dumb Leaders Handbook. But so, Tony, what makes a great leader? And in many aspects, there's in my mind probably 9 or 10 common characteristics that we see in leaders. And in a previous podcast, I've talked about my personal leadership model, the anatomy of a leader, where we talk through the heart, we talk through the core, the heart, and the mind, and really, I suppose a lot of the characteristics that I see in great leaders all stem from that model. So within the core of leadership, and we all need a strong, solid core, just like we do with the bodies that we have, and the ability for us to utilize our body, it stems from a core. It stems from a really strong core. And as part of that strong core of leadership, we talk about character. Now, character is vital for leadership. Absolutely vital for leadership. A person with a strong character underpins their leadership and underpins their team. And I'll often describe character as the central player in having a strong core. It is the foundation of the core. The core itself is the foundation for leadership, but character is the foundation of the core. A leader with a centre of character is well placed to build from that. And you've all probably worked, hopefully you've worked with a leader of good, strong character. Hopefully, wherever you are from a political aspect, you have a leader of strong character. And when you see a leader with a good, strong character, that's where people respect the leader, respect what they're standing for, respect the fact that they've got this character. But then, and from the aspect of character, we do have a number of characteristics that stem from that. So when we talk about having a strong character, often we talk about the values that we all have. Our values, our personal values, and then that is being replicated in what it is that we do. So we all have personal values. We all know that. We all have a set of values. So whether that's something that has been passed down from your upbringing, whether that's something that's now part of your conditioning, or whether that's something that you've actually instilled in yourself through discipline, hard work, and potentially a little bit of talent and perseverance. We all have this set of values. And these values allow us to stand tall as a character, stand tall with character. So values could be something like honesty, it could be something like integrity, it could be something like compassion, it could be something like love, it could be something like caring. But these are all values that people have. And when you have a values-based character, you are more than likely to build this incredibly strong leadership scenario, because it's based on something. Unfortunately, a lot of leaders, it's not based on anything. We don't even think about it. It's like we take our some leaders will take their character and park it at the door while they do business. And, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So it's an incredibly interesting scenario that some leaders won't allow their character to come through, won't allow their values to shine, and almost divorce themselves from those values. And that is why often they don't get the respect that they deserve, because they're not living their true, authentic self. So values are the core of what we could talk about when it comes to character. And if you don't have values, that is then replicated in the style of leader that you are, one without character. That character makes you stand tall. Character makes you stand tall. You think about people with character, and they stand tall. There's a presence about them. There is an absolute, they're very certain and authentic and genuine in who it is that they are. They're authentic. A leader with character has integrity, absolute integrity. They'll do what they say they're going to do, and they'll expect that from you, and they'll expect that from the people that they lead. So a leader with character has integrity. They're honest. They're not honest to a fault, and they're not brutally honest. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But they have integrity. So they know that what it is that they do will ultimately lead to what some people may call legacy, what some people may call reputation. Now, it's interesting, when we talk about character, often you'll hear people say, well, character is who you are when no one else is looking. And yes, in very large proportions, that's what that's a good definition of character. But you'll also hear people say reputation is what other people think of you. Character is who you really are, or words to that effect. And in many ways, a person with good, strong character will have a good reputation. So there is a link between character and reputation. But people with a fake facade can also try and create a reputation. But ultimately, if they don't have that strong inner standing of character, there are going to be times when that facade crumbles and shows cracks. And when that happens, that's when people see the real. You know, you've heard people say, we saw the real leader today. When someone loses the plot and goes crazily angry at people when things haven't been done, that's their real character stepping out. So you can't continually put out what you don't have within, and this is where character really comes into place. So a leader with strong character has integrity. They show courage. So often that's courage of their convictions. You know, I know from the very early days, I had a fantastic role model in my dad. Now, unfortunately, my dad passed when he was 1987, so it's quite some time ago. But I know that Dad left a well-paying job as a manager for a shoe manufacturer here in Australia because of the way that his boss was treating the office staff. So over a period of time, Dad had tried to influence the way that that leader was indeed treating his staff. And when it finally came to a head, Dad stood on his convictions and left that organisation. He couldn't condone or couldn't work or couldn't continue to be a leader in that business if that was the role model that was being set. So a leader with character will often show that courage to stand on their convictions. A leader also has empathy. So a leader who cares for their team and has strong character has this real ability to empathize with people, put himself or herself into those shoes, and really try and come to an understanding from where what that other person is going through, what that other person is thinking about. So a leader with character has really good empathy, and they care about their team. So when all else fails, and this is something that I share with my leaders all the time, when all else fails, don't fail you. So if you're ever being pushed or asked to do something that really defies your values, really defies what it is that who you are, really makes you feel uneasy, creates that disalignment, creates that concern and pain. When all else fails, don't fail you. And that's character. That's character. And, you know, I'll then often get asked, do we build character? One of the best ways that I know how to build character is to be grateful for everything that you have and to be grateful for people around you. And that's one really good, strong way to build character within your leadership. But you'll also see leaders with character in many other ways, and you'll see this in the actions that they have. So they'll embrace the organisational values as long as it's in alignment with theirs. You know, so, and this is why it's important to understand when you go into a job, when you go into and take a leadership role, understand the values of the organisation, because that's, if it aligns with yours, you're in a good spot. But if it disaligns, if it doesn't align, all we're going to see is pain. And you'll see pain one way or the other. You'll see pain when you drag yourself out of bed every day to go to a job that you don't feel comfortable in. You know, so they'll embrace organisational values. They'll speak well of others, even those in authority. So a person with character, you'll never catch them gossiping. They're supportive of board decisions and they'll own that decision. So in every job that we have, there are decisions that are made that are outside of the span of our control. As a leader and as a manager, we have to support those. Now, hopefully you've had a position where you've been able to debate and talk about that. So at least you've been able to get your thoughts through. But leaders with character will be supportive of decisions. And they're able to work through and address and press through resistance. So a leader with character will continue to be tenacious. Especially, you'll see a leader with character will often be the one that is striving for excellence, right? Striving for excellence. They're willing to suffer for principle. They're willing to serve others. And prepared to disadvantage, as in the case of the story about my dad. They're prepared to disadvantage themselves for a higher cause. They're open to feedback and open to correction, a person with character, because ultimately they're passionate about their own growth and their own improvement and creating a culture where people feel comfortable providing that feedback. Now, not every leader, as we know, likes that. Most leaders hate feedback. They don't look for it, they don't chase it, and the less said, the better. But ultimately, a leader with character is really keen to grow. They're passionate about whatever their next steps are. They know that they haven't arrived. They're also emotionally stable. So you'll see usually, and once again, I think this comes back to the central concept of core. A leader with character is really comfortable and clear on who it is that they are. They're authentic, they're genuine. It comes from a really strong values base. So you won't see a leader with character having tantrums. You won't see the leader with character throwing things. You won't, or raising their voice even. So and during disagreements, you'll actually see a leader with character. You'll see a leader with character during any sort of conflict resolution. Be curious as to why and how it came about, and that curiosity will tend to lead to a sustainable resolution. Because once again, a leader with character is very unlikely to find fault. He's looking maybe to find the reason, but not to look for fault and to blame. So I hope that answers part of the question. So I'm thinking the next 9 weeks, I'm going to underpin some of these really key characteristics of what makes a great leader. Number one was character, and I believe that character and that core concept is central to good leadership. Absolutely central to good leadership. If you don't have a good, strong, solid core, your character will be found out without a doubt. So start with character, and character once again is something that we can develop through discipline, through intention, and being grateful for things, and not having that entitlement mentality. Hey, thanks for listening. If you think someone, or if you know of someone who's would appreciate this particular lesson of the podcast, please share the podcast. We are increasing in numbers. It's always good to see the numbers increase. And of course, if you've liked it, whatever platform, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to review. That all helps us get found by other people who may be in need of what we're talking about right here and now. Surely in the 115 episodes of the Coach Call podcast, there is something there for everyone. So we appreciate everyone that's out there sharing and being our advocates, and we really do appreciate that. We don't ask for anything outside of just tuning in on a week-to-week basis and sharing it when you think it's fantastic value for someone else. Hey, don't forget Think and Grow Business, personal, professional, and business growth. We help improve the performance of people in business. Check it out at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au. Also, I have written a book. There will be another one coming out. I do have a date set for this year, so we'll see how we go. That's a really tough deadline, but I'm really committed. I want to get this book out, and as we get close to the date, I'll start talking a little bit more about that. But at the moment, seriously simple stuff to get you unstuck, and that's available at all good all good online book retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Nooks, Google, etc., etc. It's also available at tonycurl.com.au, my authors page. And don't forget, 20% of every book sold goes to support the wonderful work that the team at Carter's Cause are doing to help Heart Kids Australia by raising funds and awareness of kids and the families of kids born with congenital heart disease. One final new one on board, Totally Builderall. Check it out, totallybuilderall.com. A fully integrated digital marketing program just for you. It's one of the best on the market in my mind, one of the best value on the market, absolutely. And you can check that out. Sign up for the 7-day free trial at totallybuilderall.com. You will not regret it. Next week, we will continue the series of what makes a great leader. Until then, we shall see you later. Don't forget the golden rule. Just don't be an arsehole. See you later.